please explain to me what is it more or less that gravitated you to this sort of concept? Like, what was your main inspiration for making this film?
Well, I'm fascinated with the other side, with heaven, with the super kind of natural sixth sense type of things since I was a child. And I'm also a Catholic, so I mean, to me, it's, you know, a lot of exploration into that realm. And I grew up in a rural Wisconsin, so a lot of the characters kind of have that kind of feel to them. So that's kind of where it came from, you know?
Gotcha. And what was it like working with the cast and crew and Nicolas Cage? I mean, that must have been a very interesting opportunity to work with him.
Sure. I mean, I was very blessed. I had a great cast and a great crew. I had a very supportive producer, David Hillary, who basically has made movies since the 90s supporting independent voices. He made Virgin Suicides, American Psycho. So for me, David really pushed everything along and helped me a lot. Getting Nicolas Cage to come on to be the lead role was amazing. When I wrote it with him in mind because I'm a big fan of his work, and I really thought he's the only kind of actor that could play this kind of role, you know, because it's such a unique tone to the character. And then he took it to a whole another level and made it all that much more amazing. But so I was really grateful to have David kind of help me get the cast involved, and I had a great crew, you know, DP and everybody. Franka, Potente, Penelope Mitchell were two phenomenal actresses who were leading the movie as well in terms of playing the roles of Julie and Billy and Mary. So that's great. Then we had Garrett Clayton, Lydia Hurston, Hopper Penn join as well in other roles. So we had a great cast, and you know, to have a seasoned actor like Nicholas to be able to work with was amazing, really amazing.
Absolutely. And if you could just please shed a little bit of light as to like what were some of the scenes that you found most complex to shoot or to work on, and also what scene like did you just overall enjoy working on the most?
I think there were a lot of complicated scenes where where Billy and Mary are changing characters. You know, that's complicated because it's a challenging role for Penelope. So we wanted to make sure that she was happy with everything during those scenes. So these scenes were very tricky. We also had a lot of sex scenes. Of course, there's also, you know, the added awkwardness of shooting those. And I didn't as a director want to make the movie about sex. I wanted to make that about more of the tension of the characters together and more of the human element. So it was challenging on how to shoot that without making it about the sex, but more telling about the gritty realism of these characters' lives and having it reflect on who they were and where they were in their lives. So those were some of the challenging elements. We also shot in a very short period of time. So we needed to do things in a very condensed format, you know, because we were shooting, I think we shot 23 days or 25 days, something like that, so shoot very rapidly. So that was challenging as well. But we kept it minimal in terms of locations and stuff, so.
Gotcha. And also, if you could just please talk a little bit about the whole supernatural elements about it. Like, what were some things that you might have like experienced in your childhood or in your youth that kind of like just like ignited this like concept?
Oh, I'm a firm believer in heaven and the other side, and I think I'm also a believer in the kind of sixth sense things. And I mean, I grew up in a house from 1840 our house was built, and I had a little ghost boy walking around the house quite a bit of the time, who I think had fallen on a pitchfork. And you know, I was always fascinated with is that, you know, some kind of a recording on the elements in the area, what creates that kind of an image, or is it actually somebody coming across? And I think ultimately when you lose somebody who's close to you, you know they're in heaven, and you'd like to obviously bring them kind of back. You know, loss is a very difficult thing to cope with, so it's like a fantasy. And the single mom, I'm a single mom too, by the way, but the single mom basically being able to bring back her daughter is like, you know, the absolute ultimate fantasy of any mother, you know? So taking these elements and combining it was really kind of, you know, an exciting thing.
What are your hopes and how like your viewers will like take this film?
I hope the viewers really just immerse themselves in it and find it interesting and entertaining in a lot of ways. And I hope they walk away questioning what they saw, what happened about the characters, and the interaction between the characters, and ultimately how they reacted to each other. This is, in questioning this story, what they looked at. This is what I'd like, you know, to let them walk away wondering and thinking, at least for a bit.
Gotcha.
You know?
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank
I
you
really
very much.
appreciate it. Absolutely. Such a pleasure.
Thank you very much.